Hey guys, and welcome back to the Midlife Awakening podcast. My name is Adelia and I'm your host. I'm so grateful that you're here. This is a podcast about transformation for women who are waking up to who they really are while navigating everything that comes with midlife. Today's conversation is one that is honest, deeply moving, and also surprisingly funny. I'm joined by Betsy Rannell, a real estate broker, podcast host, mother of two, and a woman who truly embodies the idea that midlife isn't a crisis. It's a comeback. After losing her husband at just 40 years old, while pregnant, Betsy found herself navigating unimaginable grief while raising her children alone. Over the years, she rebuilt her life, started a new career at 48, and discovered a voice that now inspires others through her podcast, Heavens to Betsy. In this episode, we talk about grief, resilience, single motherhood, dating in midlife, manifestation, healing, and the surprising freedom that comes when you stop caring what everyone else thinks. Betsy brings humor, honesty, and a lot of wisdom to this conversation, and I know you're going to take something powerful away from it. So let's dive in. Hi, Betsy, and welcome to the Midlife Awakening podcast. I'm so glad that you are joining us today. I really love your energy, so I'm really glad to have you on the show today. So for anyone meeting you for the first time, how do you usually describe who you are now at 55?
Well, thank you, first of all, Odelia, for having me on the Midlife Awakening. I love the name of your podcast because isn't that what midlife really is? It's an awakening for all of us. It's not a crisis. It's like, I call it a comeback, pretty much. So for me, at proud 55 years old, I would describe myself as three things. One, I'm a mother first. I've raised my two sons by myself since my husband passed away. And I will tell you, and I tell them all the time, I pat myself on the back, I'm a really good mother. I tell them you're welcome all the time because I've done a great job with them. I will say that. So I'm a mother first. Then to make a living, I'm a real estate broker in New York and love it. Very fortunate to have come into that business. It's a true profession, and I feel very blessed to be trusted by people, my clients, to help me find their home or sell their home, which is usually one of our biggest assets we ever have. And it's a very important profession, I will say. I mean, I take it to heart. I'm a human first and a broker second is how I talk to them because it's a people business. And then third, I'm now a podcaster, which is the most fun of all on top of my regular work. This brings me so much creative joy because I continue to meet amazing people like you and other people from all over the world. And we come together because of common interests, such as midlife. So I'm so happy to be here and proud that you chose me to be on. And I thank you so, so much.
You're really welcome. And yes, I second that. Doing a podcast really does introduce you to some really amazing people. And I've been fortunate enough with some of the people that I've met, that I've got to meet them in real life. And, you know, they've become friends. I mean, it has really opened up a world for me.
Yes, I agree. And I mean, me being in New York, I'm an hour outside of New York City, which is, one of the world hubs. So when people come here, I'm able to be like, oh my God, I'll come down, I'll meet you, we'll have lunch. It's such a beautiful, I mean, people think our world gets smaller with this, but I think our world gets bigger because it's a global world. We have podcasts, we have the internet. That's what brings us all together even more. And I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now I've gone on your TikTok.
Okay. I love my TikTok. Yeah. My TikTok is like my safe space. I don't ever talk about work. I'm like the real Betsy on there that none of my clients really know. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Now everyone knows I have a TikTok.
Be like, it's inspired me to be like, maybe I need to be putting myself out there a bit more. And,
yeah. I mean, Odelia,
this is with midlife, right?
Yes. And you have a podcast. You're already putting yourself out there. So what's the difference? TikTok, podcast, it's all the same. Get out there. Yeah. Find your people. Yeah.
So you're quite hilarious. And like I said, I really love your energy. So do you think your humor saved you, or did it come after everything fell apart?
No, I've always looked at life with a humorous bent to it. My parents kind of raised me that way, just watching them. but I definitely had to lean into it even more because, when you're burying your husband and you're 40 years old and you're pregnant with we had twins in there. We already have 2 kids, but we were pregnant with twins at the time, and he dies. I mean, there was even humor, and we had a wonderful marriage, very happy. So like, he gets the humor. When we were burying him, one of the guys lost hold of one of the straps to put the coffin down, and I started laughing. I mean, it's just ridiculous, Life is ridiculous. And I made one post on my TikTok yesterday because over here in the East Coast and in the Midwest of the United States, we're having snowmageddon, like a very serious snowstorm. It's fine. We're having it right now. And I'm like, everyone's panicking over a snowstorm. Why don't you bury someone and then you can really put things into perspective? So that was what my post is about. If you've buried anyone close to you, God forbid a child or a spouse, a sibling, a parent, really before their time, crisis, and nothing pales. I mean, everything pales in comparison. Nothing is that grave once you've accomplished that and gotten through that. So I think, yes, my humor has absolutely gotten me through every minute of every day for the past 15 years.
So at 55, what has surprised you the most?
The menopause, man. This is insanity. My kids joke with me. They're like, do you even know why you're in this room? Today I do. This minute I do. The brain fog is insane, and it makes us sound stupid, even though we're not. But when you talk to other women in their perimenopause and menopausal journey, we're all like, wait, I forgot what I was going to say, or what's the name of that? And it's like an orange and you can't remember the name, but we all laugh together because we're all going through it. That's really surprised me the most, is the menopausal brain fog, to be honest.
My memory has always been bad since my 20s. But when brain fog hits, I was like, really? It could get worse? Like,
clearly. Wow. Right? And so that's a really good point. I had a lot of brain fog, I guess, because when you go through any kind of trauma, not just death, but any kind of very heavy trauma, it's science has shown it is like a traumatic brain injury. So you do lose some ability that you had before when were innocent and life was easy and free. And so I already had brain fog too, for about 12 years before that. And then it got worse.
Just give you a bit more because
exactly. Here you go.
A woman.
Not a couple of punches. Yeah. You can take it. You're a woman. Go. Yeah.
So let's circle back a little bit. So you became a widow quite young. You said you were 40 and you were pregnant at the time.
Yes.
Can you take us back to like that your life completely changed?
Yeah.
Like, how did you handle that?
I don't even know. I wish I could tell you, but I will tell you, I slept pretty much for the first 2 years. I mean, look, I was able to barely feed my kids in terms of getting up and feeding them. My older son, who was just 8 at the time, and my younger one was 4, my older son told me when I sort of came to, he was like, I was talking about food or something. He said, you know how many dinners I've made for Greg? And I didn't even realize because I was asleep most of the time. My body just couldn't handle it. I was able to make sure bills were paid and that there was food in the house. I mean, I did the very basics, but I remember it was like I was, in my bed with a very deep physical injury, and they would come to me in my bed and we would play on my bed. They would visit mommy in their bed. I was not out and about in the center of the house like I always was. I just stayed in my bed. So that was the first 2 years. The second 2 years, I ended up feeling like desperate to not be alone. And so then a friend of mine was like, you need to meet a man. I was like, no, I don't. She's like, yes, you do. And so I was like, what do I know anymore? My brain doesn't even work. Fine, I'll listen to you. So I found a man that was very good on paper. And about 6 months in, he became very abusive. But I was already like locked into the desperation of not being alone. I mean, this is what happens in these abusive. I had never been in one before. And I didn't witness one growing up. My parents had a healthy marriage, thank God. And I was asked, my mother lived on our property with us at the time. And I was like, what am I doing? She said, you got to go through this, and water seeks its own level. So even though on paper, he was really like a grade A guy, I mean, I circled the drain with that one. And he was abusive. He was cruel. But what that super unhealthy relationship did. And look, we did have fun together. I mean, I wasn't 100% bad, but in between the good was a lot of bad. But I was so angry that my husband was dead that I attracted a very angry relationship. Knowing how unhealthy it was, though, started to wake me up. It started to empower me. I was asking myself, like smacking myself in the head, how much longer are you going to put up with this? How much longer are you going to put up with this? And I wasn't physically abusive to him, but I was in there saying, like mean things right back to him. So it was getting the rage out of me when I had to respond to his nastiness. And he wasn't physically abusive. It was all verbal assaults. Otherwise, somebody would be in jail about now. The bad, unhealthy relationship woke me up. And so finally, when I got my head screwed back on straight, I got rid of him and I said, hello, grief. What do you have to teach me? I'm ready. I'm not ready, but I'm ready. Avoiding you is not working, so I'm going to meet you head on. What are you here to teach me? And that's when my real grief journey started. So I got through it by finally, I stopped avoiding it and I met it head on, shook its hand, and started walking the path with grief. And that's when my life started to come back together again. It was not easy. Believe me, I have been up, I've been super down through these last, so that was the first 4 years. These last 11 years, this has been very rough, but it's been my own journey with me and grief and figuring out what I need to do to be a great mom, developing as a midlife woman, and just be the best person I can be going through this. And so it's been a one-on-one relationship. No one else has been involved. And that's what I did. I learned to face grief head on.
And what do you think most people misunderstand about grief? Because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions out there about grief.
There is. And I think it mainly comes from people who haven't ever dealt with deep grief. And there's no judgment. How would you know until you know? So those of us who have been affected by it, when people say to you, it's time to move on, you'll get over it, time heals, they really mean well. I never take offense. I know so many people like, that's so rude. I'm like, they're trying to give you love in the best way they can. They don't know. Or they're too uncomfortable to really look at it themselves. So grief is a very big telltale. I think the misconception is you don't move on. And you don't want to move on. Because we don't want to leave our mothers, our children, our spouses, our friends, our siblings. We don't want to leave them in the past. We don't want to forget them. But now our relationship to them is our memories of them. And the grief is the active relationship that continues. It's the love and the missing and the longing for them that's in our hearts. So what people don't understand is we have to learn to walk with grief, move with grief, and move forward, incorporating the grief and the sadness and the longing and the missing into our daily lives as we grow and develop further. That's the ultimate misconception. Time doesn't heal, but time gives you strength and the room to incorporate and adjust. That's what it is. Yeah.
And I love that you said adjust, because it really is that, because you never stop missing the person. You never stop missing, but you adjust.
Correct.
And you learn to live with that yearning and that missing.
Correct.
You just learn. And, sometimes it does get you.
Absolutely.
You can have that moment on an anniversary or a birthday or Christmas where it does get you, and that's okay.
It's okay. It is you. And what's interesting is a lot of survivors, which I like to call thrivers, because we do survive, but then we turn into the thriving. So, for example, this past year, I was like, all right, enough surviving. We're closing the door. You've learned your lessons. Now it's time to thrive again. But there's guilt. They call it the survivor's guilt. There's guilt in that. We feel like, well, if we're doing well, it is okay. Everyone who's passed on that loved us wants us to thrive. If you believe in angels and spirits from the other world, they're there. Go get it. Go, go, go. Everybody go thrive. We want you to be happy. And so it really is our duty, in my mind, I consider it, to live on in their honor with respect to them and what they would have wanted for us. And we're still here. As my mother used to say, life is for the living. So get to it. So, yeah.
And I think also another thing is people often think that grief is just when someone's passed.
Oh,
but there's so many different versions of grief, isn't there? There's the if you're getting divorced, the grief of the life you thought you were going to have, right?
Absolutely.
There's so
Absolutely.
many different versions of it.
Yeah. And what I hate the most is when I have friends who are like, oh, I'm just getting divorced. It's nothing like what you went through. I was like, hold on a minute. What I went through is extreme. Divorce is a death unto itself. Don't devalue what you're going through and the grief you have around it, or someone who loses their job that they love. There's grief in that. You lose a pet. You have to move. God forbid your house burns down. There are losses. Your favorite, I'm not kidding about this, your favorite mailman retires. There's loss in that. Grief applies to so much, and people belittle it for themselves, and they have to honor it. It's very real, and it spans all kinds of things.
Absolutely. It's just the degree that varies, right?
Correct.
Losing someone
Everyone's
would be the most
yes.
intense version of it. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
the child loss is the most intense. That is the worst. And God bless everyone who has survived the loss of a child. My God. Second to that is the spouse. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, a person
Yeah.
that you share your life with.
Correct. You depend. I mean, I had no job. I didn't exist in the credit world when he died. I was like, I happily became a stay-at-home mom and wife. It's my choice. But you lose a lot with.
You were still
I
able to
was.
stay home.
Yes, I was very fortunate in that I didn't have to go to work for many, many years. Thank God. And then when it was time to go back to work, both my kids were in high school and healthy. My focus was getting them right so that, because, when you have kids, you're like, how is this? This is trauma. I don't want to see this come out in some really unhealthy, self-harming ways when they become teenagers. So I was provided for so that I could be home the way that I always was and focus solely on them. So I did, and that's why they're healthy and happy and both thriving. And I'm like, and you're welcome, boys. Oh, I got an A. You're welcome. I did that. They call me a narcissist. I'm like, maybe so, but you're welcome. Because it could have been much worse. But I didn't. So thank God I did not have to go to work for many years. And then when I started, they were okay. And that's why I'm so grateful I had real estate, because real estate is a full-time profession, but you're not in an office 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 behind a desk in someone else's home. I'm mainly at my own house in my own town and never more than 30 minutes away from my kids, when they were younger. So it was really, I got very, very fortunate with that. Yeah.
So you started this new career in real estate at, you were like 48 years?
48. Hadn't worked in 20 years. Yeah. It was a great career. It's a great career. There's so many moms in it because it's a great career for moms and second acts. It's a wonderful career.
Yeah. So that was going to be my question. So what made you decide on real estate? And it's the flexibility, I'm assuming.
Well, yes, I really didn't. So I have always had a fondness for the house in and of itself. Since I was a little girl. And I went into public relations as a career right out of college. So clearly I understood people and very into psychology and making something out of nothing and making people feel great and grand when I'm talking right to them. They are all that matters to me. And that's the feeling that I give them. So I'm very good at working with people. And I really didn't know what to do. I thought, okay, well, I need to work again, so maybe I'll go back into publicity. But the publicity world has changed with the Instagram, and it's very, very different from when I was doing it. And I worked in high-level fashion, so it was very, very luxury-based world, which I still was very comfortable in and knew. But I'm like, God, I'd have to really, I don't know I'd have to be an intern for a year. This is whatever. So anyway, so when I bought this house in New York, my broker said, you really know a lot about houses. Have you ever thought about going into real estate? And I said, actually, no, not professionally, no. She said, I think you should look into it. So she got me hired at her firm. I know, I was so blessed.
Yeah.
I always say things do happen for a reason. I still can't understand why my husband was killed. But other than that, everything adds up in the way it's supposed to. And you can see it when you look back,
A lot of times we don't understand it when we're in the mess.
Right.
It makes sense at the end.
That's right. And, I always say, I don't care if I won the lottery and became a billionaire tomorrow. I don't want any of it. I want my husband. So that's the one thing I'll never be able to explain. But everything else explains itself out. I'm like, oh, that made sense. I had to go through that to get here. I get it. And no, I wasn't ready before this time. It all adds up. Yeah.
What would you say about midlife changed you?
So, midlife girls, if you're not in your 50s yet, look forward to them because you stop caring what other people think in every single way. And it's so freeing. I can't even tell you. It's like the best thing. You don't care. You care about yourself and you care about other people, but you don't care if you're going to the supermarket in your, house slippers. You don't care if your hair is up and you're in the, out in the street. You don't care if someone's gossiping about you. You don't care. You don't care. It's a wonderful thing. I love that. There's so much confidence in that.
At almost 43, I'm starting to feel that already. So
You're a
I'm wondering,
baby.
is that going to amp up even more?
Yes, it amps up even more, young one. Yes. Youngster. 40s are great too. I mean, I lost my 40s to grief and I was in free fall mode, but so my 40s were gone. But my 40s got me to my 50s, and I look back in my 50s at my 40s and I see all the things I had to go through in order to get where I am now. And I'm so happy with where I am now.
So raising two boys alone, I'd like to understand what advice you have for other single mothers, because a lot of women get to midlife and you decide the relationship that you're in might not be working anymore, but they might be too scared to make that change and to go out on their own because the concept of being a single mother could be really scary.
It's daunting. No one would choose this if they didn't have to, except there are women I actually know that have had children alone and they're very happy, but they knew what they were in for. They prepared for it. But if you have been married and this is daunting. So my advice to you is, let's say you're leaving a husband that you can't, or a partner that you can't be with anymore. Before you up and throw everything out, make a plan. If it's a financial issue, I would sock money away, cash away. And if you're in an abusive relationship, you need to make a plan, a foolproof plan of where you can go and get away from him or her, whoever it is, and you'll be safe. But make sure everything you need is in order. That's what I would say to the ones in the abusive relationship. The ones that are in just an unhappy and unfulfilling relationship, have a plan and buckle up because it's a ride. But anything will be better than feeling how you feel now. You will struggle. There is no doubt. Even if you have all the money in the world, you're going to struggle internally and emotionally because it's hard. This is hard, but it's worth it. Your freedom is worth it. So that's what I would say to single moms. You have to stay strong. You have to find your people. You need a village as a single mom. You need trusted people that you can go to for anything. And I'm very stoic, so it's been hard for me to ask for help when I've needed things, but I have opened up and softened to that, and I do ask for help. And I have the several little handful of people I know that I can trust to help me if I have a problem of any kind. I have different people for different things that I go to, and I've exercised that, and they've come in with great pride and love and have helped me as needed. So identify the helpers. And just know that you are stronger than anyone else. A man doesn't have to go through what we do when they're single. Women have a very different road to toe, but you can do it. If I can do it, if the others before me can do it, you can do it. Even on your worst days, get back up. Feel sorry for yourself. That's fine. But get back up while you're doing it. Keep going. No, don't say it. It's 2 words. Keep going. Keep going. I promise you, you will find your path and you will see the light again. I promise.
And would you say on your darkest days or your worst days when you're struggling the most, is that what helped you, is asking for help?
Yep. I asked for help, or if I didn't need any external help, I sort of just talked to myself and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because I'm a little hard on myself, but when I was softer, I would say the same thing. What are you doing? But my question was, what are you doing? So I was like, get up. This is not you. Get up. Keep going. Those were the 2 words, those simple words. Keep going. You don't like this minute? Let's count to 60. We're going to move into the next minute. Keep going. That's what I would do. I would take on those bad, darkest days. I was like, kill me in my sleep, please. I can't do this anymore. I would say count to 60. We're in a new minute now. We're no longer where we just were. You can't stand the hour. You're itchy. You're miserable. Watch TV for an hour. Close your eyes for an hour. Now you're in a new hour. Sometimes it is that bad where it's minute by minute, hour by hour. If there's a friend you can call to go for a walk, if you can just get outside yourself and go for a walk, if you can't go for a walk and you can open a window, anything to like shake your mindset up, get you moving forward, that is the key on those very, very grim days.
And that does help. I've tried that. It just came to me one day. I was having a tough day with boys, and I was just like, just get through the next hour.
Yep.
Just get through the next hour. Get them, do their lunch. That's 20 minutes, half an hour, eat. Get them set up with a game. That's another 15 minutes.
Yes.
Just get through the next hour.
That's it.
And then we'll deal with the next hour after that.
That's it. And then it gets better.
Yeah, it does. It really does. You don't feel so overwhelmed. You don't feel so defeated.
Correct. And you those feelings, they're so deep and you feel so like itchy and you want to get out of your own skin and you can't. And that's how you do it. Minute by minute, hour by hour, tiny. You don't look at the whole pie, as a therapist once said to me years ago. She's like, don't look at the whole pie. Look at the little sliver right now. That's all you need to worry about. And that's the way I took it.
That's great advice. I love that. I really, really love that.
Yeah.
So let's pivot a bit and tell me about your love for Taylor Swift. Let's talk.
I'm a Swiftie over 50 and very proud of it. Oh my God, I love that woman. I mean, so I found her when I was throwing out the bad boyfriend when I was, missing my husband back a gazillion years ago. I found the song Shake It Off. Because again, I was in my 40s at this time. I was not exactly her direct demographic, but Shake It Off came on the radio. I was like, wow, this is a great song. I'm going to do that. I'm going to shake him off. So I put that in my iPod and I, had that on replay all the time. Then I forgot about her. And then many years later, I heard the song The Man. And I was like, wow, this is a really good woman anthem, The Man. I feel like we are so strong and we don't get the credit for it that we do. And Taylor Swift was singing about it. So I was like, that's another great song. Put that in. Then the Eras Tour came out. And I was like, oh, that's that young girl. I thought she was like 20 years old. I had no idea how old she was. What is this Swiftie mania? This is insanity. So I tried to get a ticket to the movies and I couldn't. It was sold out every time. And then I went and I ordered the Disney subscription so I could see what this movie was about. I watched the movie and there's she has a line in one of her songs and I'm misquoting it, but it's like, puts a spell on people through her music. That's not what she says, but it's something like that, like puts drugs in her songs or something. She's intoxicating in the sense that I saw that movie. I was like, I'm a believer. Whenever this girl is selling, I'm buying. It was amazing. So then every night for the rest of her Eras Tour, I would watch on YouTube or TikTok, whoever was doing it live, I would watch the concert religiously almost every single night. I mean, I don't know what that woman has, but the it factor, she's got it times a billion. I mean, and I think what it is she's young, but she's been through a lot in her young life. If you think about it, battling the music industry, that is like battling the devil, and she's won. She's just honest. She's kind. She's human. And she speaks to women of all ages. That's what I like about her. Yeah.
It can be a channel, a way to self-express and to feel what you're feeling. Like it's like someone can write the words to a song which exactly articulates how you're feeling about something or someone.
Yes. And even as older women, we look back, we've been through all those breakups, we've been through all those obsessions. We know what she's been through. It's what she talks about as common human elements that we've all experienced to one degree or another.
Absolutely. No, she's fantastic. I agree.
I love her. Love her. Yeah.
Right. So you've got your podcast, Heavens to Betsy.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting name.
Yeah.
What inspired you to start this podcast and how did you come up with the name?
So the name is funny. All through my childhood, my mother would always say, Heavens to Betsy, what have you gotten yourself into now? Because I was kind of a naughty child, a little bit wild. And so that was her phrase for me. And then when I was approached to do a podcast, my friend that I was sitting with, he's in the music industry, and he was like, I was like, what am I going to name this? I don't even know. And he's like, he didn't even know this, but he looks at me, he goes, heavens to Betsy, because who knows what's up with you next? I was like, God, and my mother had just died. I was like, that's my mother. She's coming through. Okay, that's the name. That's the end of it. So that was the name. And then I came up with, because people are like, well, what does that even mean? I don't know. So to someone who doesn't know me, I was like, I've got to define it. So I went through a few iterations, but now I've settled on midlife crisis to come back, because that's really what this is, like your awakening. Midlife is an amazing dawning for women, and it's not where we give up. It's where we push forward and find who we are now with all the strength and the wisdom and the experience that we have. So that's how that name came up. And then I was on a dating show a few years ago, which unfortunately never made it big in England. It started in the UK, and then Lifetime brought it over here to the US. I really think it's a great premise, but it's never ever taken off in either country, and I'm really sad because I don't know why. It was a dating show called 5 Guys a Week. It's a horrible name. Gives the wrong indication, but the women on that show were not 5 guys a week kind of girls. They were like, just proper ladies, for lack of a better. Not that anyone who goes through 5 guys a week isn't a lady. If that's your taste, knock yourself out. But the women who were on it weren't inclined towards that. So it was women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. 2 widows, myself and another woman who's older. And we were from all shapes and sizes, all walks of life, all ethnic backgrounds. It was all economic backgrounds. It was amazing, the group of women they compiled together. And they chose 5 guys. You didn't know who they were. They tried to get them to meet, your parameters, or there was a couple of oddballs, it was just funny. It was amusing. All the guys that they had picked for me came to sleep in my house. There was security. Everything was safe. And we had to date for 7 days or whatever it was. And I had to throw someone off every night, in theory. Then none of them, the man for me is not going to be having the time to sleep on my basement floor. So, okay. But I was like, whoever gets to be on TV, like, this is so cool. So I took the opportunity, went on the dating show. The guys were perfectly lovely, very nice, all very gentlemanly, all very respectful, all had something to offer and give, and overall great guys. Just, none of us, I don't think any of us were in it because we were looking for our love match, except for maybe one. And he actually found someone. He's getting married, Mike. So cute. But we all did it for the experience. And we had a great, great time. It was like a cocktail party for 5 days straight. It was really funny. So one of the producers on that show was like, you're pretty awesome. We got to do something with you. I'm like, okay. I never thought about TV or anything. I don't know anything about that world. So one thing happened to the next, and now they were like, let's do a podcast. Why not? Everyone's got a podcast. Let's try a podcast. I was like, I'm game. It doesn't cost you nothing. Like, let's just do it. I talk to people anyway. So that's how we came upon the podcast. And the reason why was because they felt that I had something to say I was in my, I was 40, I don't know, where was I? I was at 51 at the time. So I was already in my 50s, and they thought, midlife women really don't have a regular girl spokesperson. Maybe you can become that. So that's where the podcast came from.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I know it was fun. That was a fun experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, cocktails 5 nights in a row. Who wouldn't love that?
And you're totally safe. I had one guy, I cannot remember his name, thank you, menopause, but he was such an amazing guy. He was the bodyguard for J-Lo on one of her tours, so he was mine. And everyone, like the crew, the guys, we all had the best time together. It was so fun, and we were all trapped here. Like, you didn't leave my house. Everything we did was in this house. So it was really fun.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So on the podcast, what are the conversations that you're most passionate about having now?
My favorite things to talk, well, I'm a little bit varied. So my favorite things in terms of women are women going through midlife and finding their awakening. Like, what has woken you up? What is it you're doing now that you never thought you'd be doing? And how did you get here? Things like that. Then I talk about, and secondary to that is dating, because dating in midlife is a whole other universe. Then I'm very into energy healing and energy work. I don't practice it, but I like to be a client of it and learn about it. So I talk about that. What else are I talking about? Oh, and money. I now have an energetic coach. She's British. She's amazing. Nicola Morgan. She is our money energetics coach. Because women in midlife, if you haven't kept your foot in the working world or the corporate world, you really you can lose sight of money. And a lot of us, divorced, widowed, whatever, we don't really know how to manage money. And there's no shame in that. I know so many women who are married and their husband manages everything, and that's fine. And mine did too. But I'm like, God forbid something should happen. You don't even know what you're doing, because I didn't exist. I had a mortgage. I was like, I could pay it. But I said to the bank, and they laughed. They're like, I said, just put my name on the mortgage. And I said, you don't exist, lady. Like, you don't even have a credit score. Who are you? That was a whole new awakening. And I was like, what? So I had to build a credit score and do all those things. So we have a money energetics coach. That's a really important piece for women in their midlife, because a lot of the time, we don't know. We think we know, but we have no idea.
Absolutely. And that's a topic that I've been wanting to cover this year as well, is money. You know, I'm fortunate enough that I've been in the profession of accountancy for the last 20 years. So
you're good. You're good. Yeah. Good.
But it can be daunting. Like if you are, because I mean, I have the other side to me that is also very, some would say airy fairy or very, yeah. So, I'm very fortunate that I've had that career, that it's sort of grounded me and I've learned a lot from it. But I know that for women, it can be very difficult to know how to manage money.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's because we're not raised with that.
No.
You're not expected to, right? Because you're going to marry someone and they will.
Yeah. That was my plan. I was just working till I found a husband. My plan. All honesty, I'm 55. Like, this was our generation. It was okay to do that. Everyone I worked with, same thing. Oh, we're just biding our time till we meet our husbands. That's the way it was.
Absolutely. And the culture that I grew up in, which is the Portuguese culture, is very much the same thing. It's like you would go to university and you would study, but really you were going to go and find a man that you're going to marry, you know? And it was just the culture. It was just a cultural thing. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, it's your generation, my generation, and the women after me, the 60s, 70s, and up. This is how we were raised. It's not the women in their 30s. They don't do that so much. They're out there getting their own, which is very smart.
Yeah. And my story was a little different because my parents divorced when I was like 6 years old, and she was a single mother. So I had a very different upbringing compared to the other girls in the culture that I was in.
Yeah.
You know, so I for me, it became a priority of like, I need to know how to take care of myself, because
thank God.
That idea, that's not guaranteed, you know.
I'm glad you learned that, though. That was a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm grateful for it every single day, because I've always been very independent, and it has worked in my favor.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Like, things happen for a reason. One day my husband's death may make sense to me, but this is what I mean. I'm sorry that your parents got divorced when you were so little, but look at the gift it gave you.
Oh yeah, no, that was the best thing ever. Them getting divorced. They were terrible together.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good. So that's a beautiful thing. So I'm glad that everyone realizes that, and it brought everyone freedom and happiness. Sometimes divorces, I mean, listen, when divorce has to happen, it has to happen, and you can see the brighter side afterwards. But I'm glad. Like, I got all A's in college, not in accounting. He gave me a C+ as a gift because I should have failed that class. And I said, you're going to ruin my GPA. I'm all A's, straight A's, like top, hundreds, 99s, all that, 100 pluses. Like, this horrible, stupid class that I'm never going to use is going to ruin my GPA. He's like, look, the best I can do that's reasonable and it's not even fair is a C+. I was like, fine, I'll take it. Oh my God, that's how much I hate dealing with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've reached a point in my life where I'm like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. I think I've learned what I needed to learn. I'm good. I need to move on now.
Good. What do you want to do now?
Well, coaching would be good. Trauma-informed somatic coaching.
Nice.
It's something that, coming on my midlife journey, it's something that, I mean, I had no idea about any of this stuff. And I had my own awakening, which sort of pointed me in this direction. And now I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with anything to do with the subconscious, with somatic healing, because I had a profound experience with breathwork, somatic breathwork, where, people talk about self-love, And for years I was like, yeah, okay, I'm trying to love myself. I'm trying to love myself. And I had this breathwork session and it was life-changing. I came out of that truly understanding what self-love actually is and how it should feel. And I wouldn't have had that without the breathwork session. So now I'm obsessed. So I'm like, other people need to know about this, that, these things get stored in the body.
Yes.
These traumas get stored in the body. And you can't talk, you can go to therapy, and therapy is great. I've done therapy. It's a really great way of validating yourself and what are you feeling.
Yep.
But to actually heal and to move past and to get out of being stuck,
yes,
you have to get it out of your body.
Yes.
And out of your subconscious. You have to reprogram your subconscious because you can't talk yourself out of that.
No.
There's no way. It's buried deep in the brainstem. You can't talk yourself out of that.
I completely agree. And when you go, and you're going to come on my podcast and we'll talk about your whole midlife awakening, which I don't even want to ask you now, unless you talk about all you want if you want on here, but I want to be surprised and talk to you when you're on mine. So I'm not asking that many questions about it because I'm your guest now. I'm holding myself back. Don't ask any questions. But I will say, when I got into my 50s, I thought to myself, okay, you need to make sure this trauma is moving through you, because we don't need cancer cells. We don't need some other kind of problem in your body. So I've been very into my health. Not obsessively. I've never met a dessert I didn't like. So, there's that. But just to make sure that overall my levels are good and there's no masses forming, there's nothing going on, because you don't know where this trauma sits. But I've worked so hard to move it out and make it an active part of my life, so it's not just stagnant, stored somewhere. So I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't realize that.
They don't.
And I think we're only now we're in a time now where people are starting to get comfortable with therapy. And I think it's going to take a little bit longer for people to get comfortable with the concept of it's actually living in your body and you have to move it out.
Yes.
But, we'll get there.
We will. It's more intimate, so we need time, but we will get there. And there are many of us who already believe in it that people are surprised that we would believe in it, and we do, because we know it works. Yeah,
you don't know unless you've fully experienced it.
Exactly. I love that. And I learned the somatic work after my husband died. My therapist was like, you need to go to a breath healer, a breath worker. I was like, what the hell is that? And then I went. I was like, oh, okay. So, girl, I get it. I'm a believer, because it's true.
You're also into manifestation, I believe.
Very much so. I learned that too. Well, actually, my husband was into that. So he's the one who got me on that hocus pocus, I used to call it. What is that nonsense? It works. You're living the life you're living thanks to manifestation. Okay then. So after he died, I began to think, what is this? So I went to the teacher he used to go to, and I was like, what did you teach him? Teach me. So I started going to her, and I think it's the same thing. It's about talking to yourself, and envisioning things. I mean, part of the somatic work is clearing yourself, seeing yourself to good health. And I know for people who are suffering chronic illness, it's not that simple always, but there is something to this. So for me, it's about, what do I want? I know what I don't want. What do I really want? And then I just talk about that. And manifestation doesn't come okay, you wish for this and there it will be. This is not the show Bewitched. It's not that. But it's I often say this or something better. So it's loosely carving something out and then saying, this universe, this is what I want, presented as I need it to be presented. And it does. It doesn't mean it happens tomorrow, but over time it evolves. And so I'm very conscious of that. It keeps you positive, in a positive headspace too.
I like that. I like that way, the way that you've explained it. Because I think there's a lot out there about manifestation and it being, I don't know, I find I go onto Instagram because it's obviously in my algorithm.
Yeah.
And it's very, I don't know, it's just oh, you're going to make millions and this and that. And I'm like,
it's not that.
I actually get quite annoyed when I close that.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, this is nonsense. This is that hocus pocus crap. I exit out, not interested. No, thank you. It's not that.
So much more than that. It's so much more than that.
It's so much more than that. And if we were slapped with millions of dollars tomorrow, why do you think a lot of lottery winners end up back in the poorhouse? It's overwhelming. It's unnatural. And that's traumatic in its own way. You don't know what to do with something so sudden. So it should never be that. Grow. If you want to be a multimillionaire, no problem. More power to you. but let it evolve, let it show itself to you. And you have to be, open, what does it say? Chance favors the, what opportunity favors the, I can't remember. Thank you, menopause. My husband used to say this: chance favors the prepared mind. And just be open. Have an idea. I want a new house. Start looking for the signs that are going to point you in that direction. It's as simple. I want a cat. Start looking in directions, the signs that are going to point you in that direction. It's that simple. I want love. Start looking for the signs that are going to point you in that. They're there. You want it. It's available. Anything you want is available.
There's still action that needs to happen.
Correct. Yeah, you can't just sit there. Yeah, no, you're not going to sit there in your bed and be like, I want this, and it's not going to land in your lap. No, you've got to be active, be open, look for the signs. Oh, wow, I'm hearing this song. It reminds me of this beautiful black cat that I saw. Let me think about that. It's like reminders and showing you that it's there. Maybe a black cat is sitting in front of you on the street and you really want a black cat. Oh, let me go to the adoption center now and get that. Like all kinds. There's signs everywhere. Yeah.
About energy as well.
Yes.
Like raising your vibration.
Yes.
And matching that vibration. And,
yes.
You can sell me any course in the world about manifestation. That's where it really comes down to, isn't it? It's about
energy,
doing the work and raising your vibration so that you can meet what it is that you're trying to manifest.
That's it in a nutshell. It's like that bad relationship I had. There was no way I was going to bring in a wonderful, healthy-minded, warm human being because I was miserable and full of rage. So what did my energy produce? Exactly what I was giving out. That's what it is. And money too, money. And that's what Nicola Morgan always says. Money is about energy too. And I firmly believe that. Yeah.
100%. I believe that too. Definitely.
Yeah. Everything is energy. Everything is outer space. Everything is energy.
Yes. People always laugh at me when I say that. And I'm like, it's okay, but it's the truth.
Hey, don't believe us. No problem.
You're missing the trick, not me.
Correct. We know. And we're not crazy. I mean, look, if you ask scientists, they'll tell you the same thing. And everything is energy. That's what they study.
So at 55, what truth are you finally living now that you wish you had known earlier in life?
I wish that I had trusted that things will be okay. That's what I'm learning finally at the end of 54 and now really into 55. I'm knowing that everything will be okay and that the bad parts aren't bad. They're just part of getting to the good parts. So I really wish that I could have trusted more and that everything will be okay. I just couldn't until now. Now I know that they will be okay.
And what would you tell your younger self if she was sitting next to you?
I would say, this sucks, but I promise you everything will be okay, and you have to let go and trust in that. You don't always have to do. Sometimes you can just be. That's really what I would say. Yeah.
So if people want to find you, I mean, I know you've got your TikTok.
Right. My little TikTok. You outed me on TikTok.
You're funny. I love it.
Well, thank you. I love doing it. Sometimes I get no views. Sometimes I get 1,000 views, whatever. This is my theory. I feel if I'm feeling it, somebody else is feeling it. And if you can hear if someone else is naming it or hear that someone else is going through it, that's a lot of validation right there.
It is. And that's what we're looking for at the end of the day, right?
Yes. Validation and community and knowing we're not alone. So that's why I do it. Okay. So TikTok is Heavens to Betsy Podcast. That's my TikTok account. And then Instagram is Betsy Rannell Life and Real Estate. And then Facebook is just my personal friend page. And then that's really it. Just those two. And then my podcast, everywhere you listen to podcasts, Heavens to Betsy.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been so fun talking to you and talking about all the topics that we've covered today. So I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Odelia, thank you. And just the whole title of your podcast, like I said at the start, The Midlife Awakening, that is exactly what us ladies are going through. We're awakening, and we should be open to it and ready for it because it's exciting.
Yes, it is. It is. And it's I don't want to call it a crisis.
It's not a crisis. Maybe men go through a crisis. Women, we go through an awakening, and I love it. What an empowering title you have. It's really been a privilege. I feel honored that you asked me to be on, and I can't wait to return the favor and have you on mine.
Thank you.
Of Of course.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Midlife Awakening podcast. Betsy's story is such a powerful reminder that even in the darkest moments of life, there is still the possibility for growth, reinvention, and eventually thriving again. As she shared in our conversation, grief doesn't disappear. We learn to walk alongside it while continuing to move forward. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to follow, rate, and review the podcast. It really helps more people discover these conversations and become a part of this growing community. You can also find Betsy online through her podcast, Heavens to Betsy, and on social media where she shares her unique mix of humor, honesty, and midlife wisdom. Please go and check out her TikTok. And if this conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Share the episode with a friend or someone who might need this message today. If you like the content that I'm putting out, why don't you come and join me on Substack? It's completely free. Just subscribe to the newsletter and you'll get a whole host of free content, from Friday insights to Sunday reflections. And we're also doing a book club. Until next time, take care of your heart. And remember, it's never too late to begin again. Bye for now.